Are you coming with me this time?
That was my father, Captain John C. Hamlin, speaking to my mother. She had gone with my father on 2 previous voyages, and he hoped she was going with them this time.
My name is Alice. I am 7 years old. I was born in Australia.
My name is Henry. I'm 5 years old. I was born on Norfolk Island in the South Seas.
Oh, John, I don't see how I can go this time. There are 4 children to leave at home. And another is soon to come.
Then the trunk came down from the attic. Aunt Abby and Uncle Josiah came up from Pocasset to take care of the children left behind, as they always did. And suddenly, me, age 5, and my brother, Benjamin, age 2.5, were fitted for a whaling voyage. We're going whaling, we're going whaling.
Hush, you two. Say goodbye to your brothers and sisters.
Bye, Etta, bye, Alice, bye, Henry, bye, Don.
The bark, another name for a whaling ship, the Islander, sailed out of New Bedford, which is where most whalers departed in the 1870s.
Hurry along, children. The stagecoach is waiting to take us to New Bedford.
The family arrived in New Bedford with bag and baggage, and sailors rowed them to the Islander, waiting for them in the harbor.
Oh, I hope the sailors don't get my beautiful new hat wet.
Once on board the ship, the family made their way to the captain's cabin.
Oh, John, the space is so small. What am I going to do with 2 lively children in such a small space?
Mother was used to the big house in West Falmouth.
A replica of this house sits in the upstairs lobby of the West Falmouth Library during December.
Now, Maria, look here. We will sleep in this swinging bed, and Bertha and Benjamin will sleep on the trundle bed we will pull out from under the swinging bed. You will make do, as you always do.
On July 25th, 1871, we set sail for the Indian Ocean.
Bertha, we see whales?
Yes, Benjamin, we will see whales. Oh, I hope the whales stay out of sight or Papa will catch them.
Alas, the captain sent home 895 barrels of sperm oil taken in the 2 years at the sea on the Indian Ocean.
Everyone wonders what we did for amusement on the ship. Instead of woods and green fields, we had the ship deck.
Go play, children. The weather is warm in July. You won't always be able to play above on deck. Be careful and don't bother your father.
First, Benjamin and I went to the cook's galley, where we hoped to get a handout.
Look, Bertha, a sea turtle.
Benjamin, be careful. He does not look too friendly.
When the children were not bothering the sailors, they spent hours riding on the turtle's back, being careful to keep away from the turtle's head so as not to get bitten. Remember, the children were ages 5 and 2.5 and trusted alone on the deck of the whaler. For the most part, they avoided trouble, but there were exceptions.
Ben, get down from there.
Bertha, watch, I swing.
You climb down right now before Father sees you.
Little Ben was holding onto a rope and billowing out over the sea as the ship rolled back and forth. Suddenly, a call came from the crow's nest.
There she blows.
Bertha and Ben ran to the side of the ship.
Look, Ben, down go the whaleboats and the harpooners. They will chase the whale until he surfaces again. They must find just the right spot to put in the harpoon. Whales are dangerous, and their big jaws can swallow a whaleboat and all the sailors. I remember a whale jaw that hung in a tree near our driveway in West Falmouth for a long time.
Once the whale was killed, it was towed to the ship. The cutting stage was lowered, and the sailors peeled off the blubber in large pieces. The blubber was hauled aboard and cut into smaller pieces called Bible leaves, and cooked in try pots over fires on deck.
often wondered how safe a fire was on the deck of a wooden ship. But when the fires burned all night, Ben and I would chase each other around the ship, jumping in and out of shadows.
It was my job to keep track of the names and locations of islands where we went ashore. I also had to write a daily log for each day we were at sea. I often drew pictures of the whales we had spotted in the margins of the journal.
In November, the captain wrote,
Next week is Thanksgiving. I hope the next Thanksgiving will be spent at home. If it weren't for hopes, what would we do?
One day, the sailors went on shore to an island and brought back a pail of turtle eggs.
And one day, they brought back cow milk.
Now, children, take care. And do not drink too much of the milk. I need to scald the milk so it will last longer.
Mother put the milk on the table, and when she wasn't looking, I sneaked a drink. I am dead, I cried, burning my mouth.
Come, Bertha, I have some Arabian balsam. It will help you sleep, and then you will feel better.
sometimes another whale ship was sighted. That was a great day. The captains would visit each other, have a gam, conversation between the whalers, and dinner, and talk of world affairs and share experiences. Gam also referred to a gathering of whales.
Bertha, me bored.
Let's go see what the sailors are doing.
Hi, children. I'm carving whalebone. When I polish and decorate it with India ink, it's called scrimshaw.
I was quite proud that I was a 33rd degree Mason, so I designed the Mason emblem on whale teeth and ostrich eggs.
It is so nice to have the children on deck visiting their father and the sailors. I need to get this yarn wound around this swift and use my gauging wheel, a fork made from whalebone, to crimp this pie.
My mother was known for her pies and hard gingerbread. With 8 children and all the neighborhood children around, she didn't have time to make cookies. But when I got older, I did have time. And everyone knew me as the cookie lady of West Falmouth.
We sailed the Indian Ocean all of 1872. August 31st, 1872 is Bertha's birthday. I guess we will be spending it on a ship, anchored between Africa and Madagascar.
Do you know what I got for a birthday present? My little brother, Ernest Seaborn Hamlin. He was born on the ship the day before my birthday. When Ernest grew up, the kids used to tease him by calling him an African and saying he could never be president of the United States of America.
Bertha, come quick. Look what I'm getting you for your birthday.
It was a whale. They caught a whale on my birthday. Later, Father promised me a watch for a real birthday present.
Come, Bertha, Mother and I are going to meet the chief of Madagascar, and you are invited.
Benjamin, you won't believe it. The chief had 7 wives. They were dark-skinned, of course, being Africans, and they were dressed in white. Their lips were blood red from chewing betel nuts. I will tell all the girls when I get home that lipstick comes from betel nuts.
It's early 1873. I think we have caught enough whales.
And I am tired of tending 1, 2, 3 children on a whaler.
It's time to head home.
But first, we stopped in Australia. Well, Tasmania, to be exact. Ben, look at this road. It was made by convicts.
Bertha, what's a convict?
Someone who builds roads.
I like the wild roses on the convict road. I'm tired of looking at water.
The sailors took the family across the water to Australia, where they stayed with Mrs. Tassel, a missionary.
Bertha, what's a missionary?
Someone who has a mission. She has Sunday school for the natives. You ask too many questions.
Here, Bertha, Mrs. Tassel wants you to have a Bible.
Mrs. Tassel has lots of Bibles to give away. I still have this Bible with my name and Mrs. Tassel's name and and the date, but the words are so old and so small that I cannot read them anymore.
Well, here, Bertha, Mrs. Castle wants you to have the songbook so that you can sing to your brothers.
Well, I lost the songbook on the way home, but I still remember the song. I want to be an angel, and with the angels stand, a crown upon my forehead, and a harp in my hand.
Part 3. The ship was sold in March 1873. Captain Hamblin had decided to give up whaling and go home. The first mate, Mr. Hiram E. Swift of Whitman, Massachusetts, took over as captain.
I was happy to see that Captain Swift brought his little girl and his wife onto the ship, but no little boy. But perhaps his wife would have a baby boy on ship who could never be president of the United States, too.
Bertha, I have a story for you. One day you went into my cabin and found my pocketbook to play with. Do you remember what you told me?
No, sir.
You told me you didn't take the white money, you took only the yellow money.
I remember. I just wanted the gold. Even at the young age of 6, I knew the difference.
Captain Hamblin and family were now ready to return home by way of London.
We stopped at Lisbon, Portugal.
In Le Havre, France.
I knew we visited those places because I have on my living room table a pretty little shell snuff box from France and a large shell that held a thimble, little scissors, and a case for needles that Papa bought me in Lisbon.
Our next stop is London. I'm so excited. I run everywhere looking at everything. Then I'm almost lost in too many people. Help, help, I cry.
Benjamin! There you are. Must you always be running? You must stay close or I will lose you in the crowd. I did not lose you at sea, and I am not about to lose you in London.
In London, we got to go to the zoo.
And ride an elephant.
Our next stop was the Azores.
A man was selling cakes from a little tin trunk, and Mother bought a beautiful lace shawl made from the fibers of a tree. Not silk or cotton, which I still have. Must be a museum piece now. And also, we have some flowers.
Made out of feathers.
The family left home on a steamer.
Berta, what's a steamer?
Something that uses steam. Quit asking questions.
So we left West Falmouth in a stagecoach. We sailed on a whaling ship. We rode steamers. We returned to West Falmouth and found a railroad was built. So we rode the train home from there.
Of course, when we got to the station, there was no one there to meet us. There were no telephones in those days, and no one knew when we would arrive.
So we walked home.
I will never forget that walk home. The boys' house wasn't built then. The only house I remember was painted white with blue blinds. It looked very pretty. Our first stop, of course, was our home, the Hamblin house. We were so excited to see Aunt Abby and Uncle Josiah and our brothers and sisters, and they were excited to see us.
Maria, you let me have that baby.
And John, Bertha, and Ben, come meet the horse, the hens, the chickens, and the 2 pigs.
Life was going to be quite different from our life on the ship in the Indian Ocean. There were hay fields in front of the house and woods to explore at the back of the house as we got acquainted with West Falmouth all over again.
But
That's another story.
Captain John C. Hamblin was born in 1829 to parents Benjamin Hamblin and Betsy Baxter. He was the second oldest of 10 children. He married Maria F. Toby, who was born in Sandwich in 1837 on October 9, 1856. Maria died in 1913 at the age of 76. John died in 1874 at the age of 44. Together they had 8 children in all. The last was Leonella, born in 1874, the year John died. Captain Hamlin spent 24 years at sea, 16 as a master or captain. In the last 2 years of his life, he purchased and managed a store in Falmouth.
So before we break, we do have hard gingerbread. I can't guarantee it's Bertha's recipe, but we have cookies back there for you. Mulled cider, cold cider, and it's all back where the exhibit displays are, so when you get up and leave, you're gonna turn around and take a left and a right, and everything will be set up there for you. But before we break, is there anybody here that has a great Bertha story that they would just love to share? Anyone that remembers her? Or did we do a pretty good job of capturing her? Yes.
Well, I would just like to say that it's wonderful to be here. My name is Carol Knapp Esser, and I used to live here in the late 50s and the early 60s. And I knew Bertha, and I went to her house several times. My sister went with me. And we lived here for a short while, but I spent an awful lot of time at her house. And she let us go upstairs, and I got to try on all the old clothes, and she took us up to her attic and showed us just all the old relics that she had collected through the years. And I remember my mom, pardon me, would take her to church a lot on Sundays, pick her up and take her into town. I didn't know this was going to happen while I was here. I'm only here for 3 weeks. And I have a letter from Bertha, because we stayed in touch through correspondence of letters. And being a teenager later on, I probably didn't save everything she wrote to me, but I do have the one. And I just remember her as a very sweet, very giving, and I'm so thankful for the experience to know her. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
I don't have a lot of different from that, Carol's sister, because I was a little younger, but I do remember picking her up for church, and I remember one Sunday bringing her home, and she stopped at the market to get a newspaper. I remember that distinctly, and I remember going to her house on Halloween, and you know you didn't get candy there, you got cookies. And yes, I remember her scrimshaw tooth that she has in the pictures there, and just, yeah, you just felt at home, such a welcoming, warm lady. I was only about 7 and 8 years old, I guess, at the time. So wonderful, wonderful memories. And then can I mention that I brought a book that I was here in 1986 with my dad, and we found a book that one of her children that stopped at the house, I don't know her last name, but it's Ellen. Anyway, she wrote a book on Bertha. It's a little tiny paper book, and Renee has it, and we're going to try and get it online so everybody can see. It's a great
It's a very great story.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
And
Glad to be here.
thank you. And Milt, you had something you wanted to say?
Just a little bit. I remember my grandmother's house was just up there where the village cafe and the ice cream shop is. Those are all in my family. And I can remember my aunt who lived in that house, it was my grandmother, used to go up the pathway going back over towards the parking lot to the Boyce house. She kept house up there, and I don't know what else she did, but I do vaguely remember the cookies, but I don't remember Bertha quite so much. I don't know why. I remember trekking back and forth several times during that period.
Those were the days. Think about life here in the village in the late 1800s. And it had to be just a wonderland for children. So, thank you all for coming. Watch the library website for the events. We've got 2 full years of celebrating everything that is West Falmouth. I'm going to set up desserts. Make sure you look at displays. And then I have a short story group at 6:45. So I will be ducking out. But thank you all for coming. We really appreciate you being here.
Wants us to sign. FCTV.
All